Right. Hey there, Northwood High School. This is Miss Christopherson. That means that it is Monday for Plus One organization. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Cornell notes, but you know how I roll. I like to review a couple things that we have been doing before we get started. So first and foremost, as you guys well know, we always do a planner check on every Monday, and I know you look forward to these and are definitely prepared for them. So if you guys could go ahead and get out your planner, have it out, and teachers walk around and check those out. All right. Also, like for you guys to get out your composition books or a piece of notebook paper. Yes, this is a shoe, but I did a Google image search for composition notebook, and this showed up, and I thought it was pretty awesome. So, you guys like shoes? Why not put this up there for you? You're going to take some notes for me today. Again, I like that. All right. So let's review a little bit about what we've talked about. For the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about how we look back over our notes. All right. We talked about how to make notes. Now we're going to talk about how to look back over them. Well, I taught you guys different note review methods. Come on, Miss Chris. All right. Some of those were outlining your notes, charting your notes, and mapping your notes. And actually what you guys did last week is that you guys took a sheet of notes from one of your classes and you did that. And I heard from some teachers that some of you guys don't have any notes from any of your classes, which is fascinating to me. And if that's the case, then you can always do your +1 notes because you have, I know for me, stuff in there that you can chart or play with, okay? Hopefully that went well for you. And if you ever want to show me some of your work, if you're impressed with something, please come by 512. I didn't get any high fives. Not cool. But you can come by and show me your notes, and that would be cool. All right? So today we're going to talk about another note-taking method that is also going to be reviewing your notes. It's called Cornell Notes. And I think in some schools, they actually, in middle school, I don't know which one, they actually make you guys do this. And there's also an AVID strategy. All right? So before we do that, obviously, I got to give you a little bit of history because, you know, that makes it only fair. Trust me, it's just a little bit. It was developed back in 1949 by a precious gentleman by the name of Walter Pock. And I hope I'm saying his name correct. At Cornell University. Cutie pie, look at him. I would totally be his friend, all right? Why did he do this? He noticed that his students' test scores were low and that they were very frustrated. So what he thought is he says, hey, you know what? I want to fix this. So I'm going to come up with a method to try to help them out with their notes to learn them a little bit better. And I know all of us have felt this way. Goodness gracious, I feel that way still, all right? And I know you kids probably do too. Right? So how do these things work? Basically with Cornell Notes, and I'm not giving you the how to do yet, just kind of a general summary. When he developed this, it actually allows students to process their notes 3 different times, and you'll actually see that today. And if you guys recall, I believe it was 2 weeks ago when I introduced the forgetting curve to you guys, where this blue line is right here, where at the end of class, you really only remember about 75% of what was discussed in there. And the more that you review, the more that you would actually remember, all right? And I don't know if anybody's been trying to do this, but you can't say that it doesn't work if you haven't tried it. So hopefully these Cornell Notes is another method or means for you guys to use to try to help you get the content down a little bit more. Now, I read this quote, and it kind of made me think about a lot of you guys are thinking, well, why should we learn this? Who cares? And, you know, I know that's kind of a general attitude. But I read this and it says when Cornell notes are used appropriately, students are guaranteed, and I struggle with that, but they said guaranteed to increase their knowledge and raise their grades in any given class. All right, so that is in any class, all right, and guaranteed. But the key thing here is when used appropriately, all right? That kind of goes with a lot of things that it can help you out if you do it right. So again, if you guys are struggling, I know that you've had your first report card. I know that some people are upset with their grades. Well, let's do something about it. And this is actually a very simple little method here that could help you out a whole lot. All right. So, oh, hey, yeah, forgot I put this up here. So, you know, if you raise your grades in any given class, it does make you want to shake your booty a little bit. All right. Check out SpongeBob. He's getting it. All right. So hopefully if you guys try this and it works, you might do a dance similar to him, all right? The booty dance, but like SpongeBob, all right? All right, so, yeah, I always find these keep calm things. I don't even know when these things started, but they're all over the place. Let's talk about how we're going to do this, okay? So keep calm and take Cornell notes. How? Let's learn, all right? So What I want you guys to remember here is I want you to remember the word star. Now, if you notice, I have R cubed. Um, just remember that. All right? Remember, star. All right. What does it stand for? All right. And actually, you guys are taking notes. So hopefully in our notes, we put down star. All right. So we can start recognizing what each of those things are. All right. The S. The S stands for setting up your paper. Okay. Now this is before class begins or when you're sitting in there, you got your wake up done, you're getting ready for class. Let's roll with this. Okay. So you're going to write a proper heading. All right. So some of your proper headings obviously are going to be your name. Now, if they're your notes, you don't need to do that. But I think probably a big thing is the date. That is one thing that we definitely push in our AVID classes is to date everything. And once you get in the habit of doing that, it's actually pretty big. Okay. So that's a part under S. Class, date, name, period, whatever you want. Okay. All right. The other thing is to put the topic of the lecture. All right. Now, I know some teachers write essential questions on the board. I know in my class I have like a set schedule off to the side where you can see these things. Now, granted, I don't have my kids take notes like this, but I have the topic written on their notes. You can get an idea of what you're going to learn, okay? And if you don't know, you could say, hey, teacher, what we learned today, all right? But hopefully you don't call them, hey, teacher, all right? So, again, that is your topic up at the top. So you know what these sheets of notes are for, and the date, and who you are, and when this is. All right, so that's the S. All right, well, we're still going with the S. All right, on the left-hand side, about 1/3 of it, you guys are going to draw a vertical line going right straight down, okay? Going right straight down. And I guess I should have said this earlier. This could be something that you do right before class as you take notes, or I know like for my kids, because I give them like it's not really fill in the blank, but it's a skeleton to fill out. This is something that you can do afterwards, okay? And we're going to play with that a little bit, all right? So again, this is just showing you how to set it up. So draw that line, right straight down, okay? So that is setting up. We got it. Topic, stuff off to the side, line. Let's move on. All right, next, we got the T in the star, all right? So S is set up your paper, T is to take notes. All right, so on the right-hand side of that line, what you guys are going to do is you're going to take notes exactly how you would in any class, okay? That is, again, if your teacher doesn't give you something specific to write it on. So just, again, some random things to remind you is to abbreviate, paraphrase. I tell my kids that all the time, be better than a robot, please, all right? And this one, a little hint is that between each idea, you guys can skip a line. I know that actually I do that when I take notes, when I'm setting up for things. That's something that you can do as well, 1 to 2 lines to kind of separate your ideas. And plus we can go back and add some things a little bit later on. All right, so that is going to be our T. All right, so S is set up notes, T is take notes. Let's move on to the A. A is applying your thinking. So this is one way that we're going to look over our notes. So we've taken our notes. That's one exposure to them, okay? Applying your, actually it's not. That is your first exposure. This is reviewing, your first one here. So within 24 hours of taking your notes, you are going to review those, okay? So you're going to read over what you got, all right? And if this actually happened, if some of my kids did this, I really think I would weep. I would be so excited, and I bet your teachers agree with that. Oh my God, it would be amazing. All right, so read over your notes, and actually what you do on the left-hand side of that line is that you actually write questions that deal with those topics, okay? Now, if you notice, like right down here, let's just do take notes. Keeps you engaged in the lesson, have something to study. And over here, you could be like, hey, why should I take notes? Okay, and I'm going to show you lots of different examples of these. This is kind of a very simple general one, but it kind of shows you what needs to happen. So over here, you're going to write some, they call them cues too also time. Cues, questions, it could be vocabulary words. You can even put diagrams over there, which you'll see here in a second, okay? So as applying your thinking, that is one exposure of reviewing your notes, okay? All right, we're going to hop to the R. So S was set up your notes, T was take notes, A was apply your thinking. And the reason why I have R 3 to the 3rd power is because we're going to do 3 different R's, okay? The very first one is that we're going to reflect on our notes. Now, actually, to be honest, this is the part that I love the most about Cornell notes, all right, is that within 24 hours, you are also going to summarize those notes at the bottom half of the paper, all right? So if you guys notice, there's like a little line drawn right there. You can't see it, but just the bottom half, there's a summary that reviews all of this stuff right up here. The reason why I like that a whole lot is that I can read this summary and see if you truly understand what's going on. And to be honest, when I have my kids write a paragraph to tell me what you know about enzymes or what did you learn about buffers, it's fascinating to see what they write because it's not really a good summary. So this is, and they don't really quite understand, and that lets me say, "Hey, Miss Chris, you need to kind of hop back and make sure that everybody's on the same page." And this is a huge thing. If you can't write that summary, then obviously you're struggling with those notes. And you know what's going to stink about this is, hate to say it, guys, it's going to require a little bit of thought. And I know sometimes we don't want to think, okay? But again, if you want to improve your grades, these are steps that you can take, okay, to do that. All right. So this is another exposure here. We wrote those questions over here. That's going over your reviewing your notes once. Down here is reviewing your notes twice. Okay. So that is reflecting on them. So we reviewed. Sorry. We applied. We reflect. Now what we're going to do is we can revise them. This is actually another thing that I told you guys to do after class is to, if you missed something while you were taking notes, instead of stopping taking notes right in the middle of the lecture, which drives me crazy, you just put a little question mark and you talk to your classmate afterwards, or download the PowerPoint, or get your classmates' notes after, or look at the textbook. But anything that you missed, you can fill in at this point in time, okay? And actually, that should probably be before the summary. I should have put that before that slide, all right? But you can catch up your notes there. The other one is reviewing your notes. Now, what's cool with Cornell Notes is that if you set it up right, what you can actually do is that you can use it as a cool little study guide, all right? If you guys notice how this paper is folded, basically those questions that you guys wrote, that was just applying those things, what you were thinking, applying those things, applying your notes, is that you fold the page over and read this question. Why should I ask questions? And then the answers on the other side. It could be, what is an enzyme? The steps, why am I on enzymes? It's so funny. The enzyme reactions, okay? Steps in protein synthesis. I'm being very general here, but again, it's a very easy thing for you to study yourself or to get somebody to quiz you. I know one problem that I had when I would use my notes is that I could always see my handwriting on things, so it was just kind of like, almost cheating a little bit, and I don't know why I did that. It was really weird. So that's why I made note cards and things like that. But this right here definitely covers up everything. So your questions and then your answers are on the other side. Okay, so that's your last R. All right, so I'm going to go through those one more time. Set up your paper, take notes, apply your thinking, reflect, revise, review. Okay, that is your star. Okay, all right, so this is kind of a general review with everything together. All right, and this is a science example, and it's a student's actual one that you might look like your notes, okay, although this looks very a little simple. All right, so the heading's the first thing that you do. If you notice, you got the date. This person actually put the section on there, so if you're taking notes in a textbook, for my AP Environmental Science students, AP Bio students, anybody who needs to do reading out of a textbook, and here's the topic, okay? And again, it's set as a question. All right, the second thing is these are the notes, all right? So if you notice, we got our line drawn right here. These are the notes that you would take just any day in a lecture, okay, or from a textbook, whatever, okay? The third thing is over here. Here are the questions, the comments, the cues, the vocab words, anything that relates to these notes, all right? So you can kind of see what's going on with that one, and that's actually kind of cut off there. Sorry, guys. And down at the very bottom, number 4 is the summary, okay, of what's going on. So again, this is the general format, all right? So let me just give you a couple of examples in every field. You can do this at any time you take notes. So here's a history example. Again, you got your good stuff up there. You got your topic. You got your line. Here are your notes. And actually, they're color coordinating their notes, which is pretty cool. Here, they're not questions. There's one question, but if you notice, you got problems after World War I, okay? And then they'll be listed right there, all right, and so forth. And then your summary right down here about those notes, okay? All right, math, you can do these in math as well. Now notice in this one there is no reflection, and actually that is probably one of the most important parts that I think of. There's also no real heading, but you do have, take that back. You got the chapter and you got the date, okay? And kind of the topic in there, probability and odds. So here's all the notes. That looks like crazy stuff, the examples that the teacher gives you. Here's a question. I don't really know what's going on there, okay, but it looks like something pretty important. Your math teachers know what it is. Probably my statistics, the statistic kids know what's going on there. but this is showing that this is something that's doable for math. All right, your summary should be down there. All right, and that's one of the most important things. All right, here's an English example, and this is actually a pre-made Cornell note sheet, which I'm going to show you here in a second. All right, so obviously you got all your good stuff there. All right, right here's the notes. So define irony, some ways to understand a character, types of conflict, okay? And then the summary right down there. Again, just examples, different things that you guys can see. And then here's a good old science one. All right, you got your heading, you got your line, here are the notes. And this is, again, not questions, but it's breaking down all the crazy stuff that they're talking about. And the summary, again, is huge, okay? All right, so what I've done for you guys is that if you don't want to set up your own notes, which it's super easy to do, okay, and I know that sometimes you guys don't have access to printers, I've actually linked some blank templates for you guys on my wiki page. All right, so just to kind of show you what's going on with that one. All right, here's a Cornell Notes blank template right here, and you can fill all this in, and you know what, you guys can print these things, and if you want some of these printed out, goodness, come to my room 512 and say, Miss Chris, I really like the blank Cornell notes. Can you print off a bunch of those for me? And I would be so happy to do that for you, okay? Here's one with dotted lines, okay? If you're interested in that one, again, we got our questions and our cues, our notes, essential question or topic, and then even you got a summary spot down there, okay? There's a lined one, just like normal notebook paper that you guys see, okay? And for math, if you guys are happening to do any graphing, here's one with graph off to the side. I love writing on graph paper, so I would probably use these for my classes if I didn't have notes. I don't know what it is about graph paper. But again, those are blank templates for you guys. I'm also going to upload, just in case, I don't know if anybody will use it, a Word document one. So if you guys take your notes online and you like taking your notes like on the computer, I'll upload that for you guys so you can kind of type those things in if you're interested, okay? But that'll be under these helpful links for you guys as well, okay? Cornell notes, okay? Remember the star. These can be while you take notes in your class, okay, while you're doing it. But let's say that you have Miss Chris for science, okay, and I give you those skeletons, okay? I was hearing weird things, sorry. I gave you a skeleton to fill those in. It would be actually pretty incredible to go back and do, it's the fireworks from the state fair. That's what it is. Okay, sorry. I hear these big things. Shut up. Okay, move on. Sorry. Very distracting. My notes, you can, if a teacher gives you a format for them, you can take those notes and put them into Cornell Notes, okay? And that is a huge way to study them. I mean, goodness gracious, that's probably, I can't even tell you how wonderful that is, okay? All right, so moving on. So what now? What do I want you guys to do? And, I like to have you practice a little bit, so we're going to keep the practice extremely simple today. So on a new sheet of notes in your composition book, let's go ahead and set it up. And teachers, if you could leave this up there for them, okay, you can hit pause and just leave it so they can see what's going on. This is kind of giving them a way to set it up and just a review. Remember to have your headings, draw that line, take notes, which you can rewrite your notes of Cornell Notes, make them nice and neat. Here's your Q column, so those are the questions as far as what's going on, okay, and then a summary of what's happening down here. All right, so it's practice. The first time you do these, you guys, it's going to take you a while, okay? That's like with anything new. It's going to take you a while to get used to. But I've seen some kids that use Cornell Notes like crazy, all right? And it's just quick. Phew, 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 pow, 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 pow. They just whip them out, okay? All right, so that is Cornell Notes. I think that is the last slide. Yes, it is, okay? I'm going to put this back up here. Teachers hit pause whenever I shut up. And kids, knock it out. All right, next week we're going to probably do more practice with this, okay, because practice makes perfect. And that's that, all right? Hope you guys have a good rest of the week. And it's a short week, woohoo! All right, and I will see you next Monday. All right, have a good one.